Jai Mata Di everyone, and welcome back to Swasti Vaatika, the Garden of Wellness. We are now celebrating our second night of Navraatri, or the 9 nights dedicated to the Divine Goddess. Yesterday, you heard from Pandit Lavindra as he described Devi Shailaputri. After Maa Sati immolated herself in the flames, destroying her father's yajna when he ridiculed her beloved Lord Shiva, she reincarnated as Parvati, the daughter of Mountain King Himavan and Queen Mainavati. The name Parvati itself contains the Sanskrit word Parvat, which means mountain. So Parvati is the daughter of the mountain. On the second night of Navraatri, we worship Maa Devi in the form of Brahmacharini Mata. Who is this beautiful form of Mata Rani? Before we delve into her magnificent story, join with me in a prayer to the Divine Mother. Om Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shanti Rupena Sanstita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namah Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. When Parvati Maa arrived on earth, the entire mountain range shimmered with bright lights. It was so beautiful that all the gods and goddesses left their abode to see what was happening. At this time, it is described that the young trees flourished in their different varieties. All the rivers flowed with the purest of water. Birds, beasts, and bees were all equally joyous. All animals laid aside their natural calamities, and all those who dwelt on the mountain loved one another. This is that divinity, that Shakti, that energy that Maa brings with her arrival, not only as her incarnation as Maa Parvati, but also when we invite her, when we welcome her into our hearts as well. As time passed, Parvati had grown up into a beautiful maiden, and Narad Muni, a celestial sage, happened to reach the court of Raja Himavan. Sage Narada was warmly welcomed by the king of the mountains. Thereafter, Raja Himavan and Queen Mainavati asked Sage Narada to predict the future of their beautiful daughter, Devi Parvati, by reading her palms, and Sage Narada agreed. From just one glimpse of Parvati Devi, Sage Narada's eyes lit up. He stood up and immediately bowed to her with great reverence. The Mountain King Himavan and Queen Mainavati were amazed at such unusual behavior of Sage Narada. Why was the sage bowing to their daughter? Sage Narada spoke with a smile, addressing Maa Parvati first. Salutations to thee, O Mother of the Universe. What is there more beautiful than your name and appearance? You are the source of all happiness and bliss. Then he looked at King Himavan. O King of the Mountains, this daughter of yours and her previous birth was Sati, the daughter of Daksha and the consort of Lord Shiva. She sacrificed her own body in the fire of the yajna as Daksha hurled disgraceful comments about her dear Bhagavan Shiva. Now she is born again as your daughter Parvati, which is why I have bowed to her. By her virtue and merits, she shall again attain Lord Shiva as her husband. Hearing Sage Narada, Goddess Parvati asked him, "How can I attain Lord Shiva as my husband? How can I once again be united with my Shambhu?" There, Sage Narada advised her to perform a severe and strict penance so that Bhagavan Shiva may break free from his meditation and realize who she was. Acting upon the advice of Sage Narada, Goddess Parvati renounced all of the worldly pleasures. She refused the comfort of her home and headed towards the forest and started performing penance. In the beginning of her penance, she lived off of fruits and roots. Later, she lived off of leaves that the tree provided. And then finally, she gave up eating the fallen leaves as well, and continued her penance without food and water for many years. In Sanskrit, the word for leaf is parna. Parvati became known as Aparna, which means leafless, or the one who will not even consume leaves. This was the level of devotion that Devi Parvati displayed. By giving up all worldly pleasures and performing strict penance, Maa Parvati became known as Brahmacharini Devi or Tapascharani Devi, the one who performs penance. Maa Brahmacharini is an extremely beautiful goddess. In one of her hands, she holds a rosary, and in the other, she has a kamandalu, or a water pot. Her face is lovely in essence, showing a calm and composed expression. Eventually, the tapasya or penance of Devi Brahmacharini caught the attention of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva decided to find out by disguising himself as a sage and visiting Parvati to test her devotion. When Goddess Parvati saw the sage approaching her, she bowed in reverence. He asked her, "What is the purpose of your tapasya?" Devi Parvati told him about wanting to marry Lord Shiva. The sage laughed and dismissed the idea of this marriage, saying, "O Parvati, you are the daughter of the king of the mountains, King Himavan himself. Why do you waste time on that Shiva? He has no house, his family is unknown, and he roams about cremation grounds with all sorts of ghosts and goblins and demons. Why waste your time calling on to him?" Maa Parvati smiled. "I do all of this out of love. I wish to marry Lord Shiva. I will win him over by my devotion. He is the master of the three worlds, and his name alone provides liberation. He is the source of all happiness and joy." Bhagavan Shiva looked tenderly at Goddess Parvati, contemplating her words. This was his Shakti, his Sati. The sage revealed himself to be Lord Shiva and told Devi Parvati, "I recognize you as my eternal companion." My fellow devotees, Maa Parvati proves to us how a devotee filled with pure love and devotion can attain the blessings of the Lord. Brahmacharini Devi represents the dedication, the devotion, and that determination that allows a person to achieve one's goal, even if the path is difficult. Please join us once again tomorrow to hear more about Maa Bhavani. We would also appreciate it if you could support our channel by liking, commenting, and sharing. With that being said, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Jai Mata Di.